Okay, Larry, it's time for the theme song.
Yeah, Bob. What do I do?
Let's see.
Okay, welcome to VeggieTales. This is Phil Vischer.
This is Mike Nawrocki.
And we're looking at Josh and the Big Wall.
And yapping away.
A classic if there ever was one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be yapping to you for approximately the next half an hour.
You can turn us off whenever you'd like.
Unless we run out of things to say, and then we may just get up and leave the room.
Turn ourselves off.
There's Larry. That's Mike.
I remember when Kurt was playing the tuba for this one.
Kurt Heineke, you mean?
Yep, Kurt Heineke.
Our music director. Yep. He plays many things, but he plays the tuba, and we locked him up in a little room with a borrowed tuba because he doesn't have his own, and we, of course, couldn't afford to rent one. and blasted his lips away.
And this was in our very first space.
Yes, this was in our first space on the north side of Chicago. It was only about 600 square feet with a room in the back that we used to record in. So he was locked up back there with his little tuba. And then off we go. Some of my favorite moments in VeggieTales. Nice rust stains. I was impressed with those. I had nothing to do with the rust stains on the water tower. They were very nice. Ooh, nice burled walnut insets on those doors. That's a much later show.
Burled walnut, yeah.
It's burled walnut, I think. Or
Yeah.
Milton Berle.
It wasn't teak?
No, it wasn't teak.
Mahogany?
It was definitely burled.
Yep.
I could tell. Madame Blueberry, which was, which show was that?
Number 10.
That was number 10.
Yeah,
Okay,
number
so that's
10.
after this one.
That was actually right after this one.
Right after this one.
Yep.
So we're watching the 9th VeggieTales film, cleverly entitled Josh and the Big Wall. Not to be confused with Dave and the Giant Pickle. We were kind of falling into a pattern there, a cadence of sort. And it goes something like this.
Oh, this is the first time we opened up with something other than Bob and Larry.
Right. That really threw some people off.
Because Larry was very tired from doing Larry Boy and the
That's right.
Fib from Outer Space.
The previous film was Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space. We were all a little tired after that one.
We were.
So Larry's sleeping in.
I think the whole company took like 2.5 weeks off after Larry Boy. That was a hard one.
Yeah. Now you'll notice if you compare this to earlier films that the characters' looks change slightly in this one, because we actually had a new lighting director, Dan O'Brien, who came in, and in between these two shows, Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space and this show, he went in and recolored all the characters and tweaked everything.
I think John Gatsby had something to do with that too. John Gatsby was working in the lighting department.
And John
at that-
Gatsby.
That's right, the great Gatsby, as we called him.
And they aren't quite as shiny. It's like we got a new makeup artist.
Yep.
And everyone came out looking just a little bit calmer and nicer.
Yep.
You also, this is one of the first shows that we did better managed lighting, a little more shot-by-shot lighting, as opposed to light a whole scene and hope it works out for every shot. So it's really at that point in 1997,
right.
there were about 30 people at staff at Big Idea.
We were in our third office.
We were in our
on,
third office.
Clinton Street.
Yes,
Clinton
on
and
Clinton
Lake.
Street in the West Loop of Chicago, right off the L track. And it was clearly a step up, because I think when we did Rack Shack and Benny, there were only 9 people on staff. When we did Where's God When I'm Scared, there were only 3 people on staff. So, ooh, nice blowing hair. That had never happened before.
Yep.
In fact, that was the most elaborate transition I think we've ever done in any VeggieTales film.
I remember Luis Contreras, who did a lot of the storyboarding for this show. He actually came up with that transition.
Yeah. Now, if you compare this wilderness, it's still pretty simple. But if you compare it to Rack Shack and Benny wilderness, it's like a mile up. Nice lens flare on that sun. Did you see the lens flare?
That was very nice. That was very nice.
Yeah, we didn't have the time to do those a show or two before this.
Sand is still looking a little.
Sand's a little weak.
Yeah, a little weak
But,
sand.
you know.
Wait till you see Jonah. The sand in there is real nice.
Wait till you see Jonah. Nice map, though. Notice that it animates as we go in closer and closer. It changes.
That's Paw Grape
That's
right there
Paw
at the
Grape.
bottom.
It looks like a smudge.
He's carrying rocks on his head.
It's Paw Grape with rocks on his head. I also really, really like the.
Yeah, that's nice burning
I
bush.
loved our burning bush.
Yep.
The score was a big step up.
Yep.
Actually, the big step up for score was in Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space is when we started recording live choir voices and a lot of live instruments. And this, I think Kurt Heinecke did a great job on this score because it mixes a lot of ethnic instruments that he was in many cases playing live. And it's much more complete score than we had done before. A little Indiana Jones animated map action there.
Very nice. Very nice.
It works for George Lucas. It works for us.
Animation started to really take a step up here too, just in terms of character emoting.
Yep. I love the hopping on those peas. Look, giants. It's a whole
Bunch of
family of
Goliaths.
Goliaths. It's funny. With trees in the background. We never had trees in the background before.
That's right. It's a cute little tree back there. I think Joseph Pulich did the art direction on this.
Yep.
Did a wonderful job.
Yep. And we actually had art direction on this.
That's right.
May have been our first show with an art director. On Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space, Dan Lopez and Joe did a lot of design work, but we didn't have official art direction yet. Ooh,
Bob looks like he has a paper towel on his head.
Nice whip pan. Yeah, he does. I think it's Downey, the quicker picker rubber.
It's in case there's an unfortunate spill, he can just lean over.
And it wicks away the sweat.
There you go.
Too. Now this film is kind of teaching heavy because we're really telling a Bible story. It's kind of like a Sunday school lesson, but I still really like the way it came together.
Yep.
I think it was a lot of fun. And this was one of our first, hey, let's do a big production number attempts. We'd really never done a production number that had its own props and, you know, kind of a limbo set like this. And there were some really good gags that they came up with, the story guys came up with for this sequence. On previous films, we didn't have story guys, so the gags were more limited.
This is very Beauty and the Beast inspired right in here.
Yes. Yes, it's a homage.
That's an homage.
A homage.
As it were.
Homage. If we weren't tongue-in-cheek, it'd be a ripoff. But since we're tongue-in-cheek, it's more of a parody.
That's right.
It's the first VeggieTales video with a taco in it, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And that little transition took some time, too, as I remember trying to get that right. And
This
the
is gonna-
sparklers and the candle flames. Holy mackerel, what a production!
What a production. I can't wait to see this in the live show.
And
We're
it's-
recording this
Oh,
before the
yeah.
live show goes out on the road. And they're working through this right now.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Hope you all get to see it, or saw it, depending on when you're watching this.
Yep.
Oh, this is my favorite part. When I wrote that line, it was just obvious that Pa had to deliver it.
Yep.
But it always occurred to me, you know, if this land was flowing with milk and honey, it'd be a darn sticky place.
Maybe that explains the paper towel
You want to talk about the sheep?
hats. Oh, yeah, look at those sheep. Aren't they lovely?
Yeah,
We didn't have sheep walking technology back then.
You have to decide where you're going to spend your budget, you know?
That's right.
Because you've got a limited bag of Legos
That's right.
that you can spend on a film. Ooh, big scary
Yeah.
wall.
We just kind of figured they were the little wind-up sheep that
Hey,
vibrate.
is this a
and that's how
commercial
they
break?
move. Yep, this is a silly
Should we go
song
to the
break.
bathroom now?
Yep. Oh yeah, and this was right after my trip to Colombia when I wrote about the Cebu's.
Right. Now, where did this come out in the voting on the Ultimate Silly Song Countdown?
This came out. Where did this come out? I think it was like number 4 or something.
You don't
4 or
remember
5.
the order?
I know. I'm sorry. I don't remember.
Okay, so tell them how you came up with the idea.
Well, I went on a trip to Colombia with my wife Lisa.
Who's Colombian?
Yeah, who's Colombian?
I have to say
That's
that
right.
every time.
there you go. And we did a lot of traveling around inside the country, and they had these animals.
Yeah, you notice
they
the
were
lens
called
flares.
Cebu's.
The lens
Oh yeah,
flares
lens
changing
Cebu-
color.
Oh yeah.
With the slides.
You know, Dan Phillips, our vice president of production. This is his favorite thing that we've done.
Wow.
Yeah, because he likes the integration of 3D and 2D in here.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
he's a 3D, 2D guy.
Yeah, he is.
He
He
worked
is.
on Beauty and the Beast on the ballroom dance sequence,
That's
so
right.
he's all over that.
Yep. So
Back to the Cebu's.
Back to the Cebu's. So I went on vacation and thought, and then we saw all these animals called Cebu's, which just kind of made me laugh, and so I wanted to write a song about them. And came up with this song, and then I mixed that with sort of my other vacation experiences, because I actually went to a little party that was being held on a farm where they had a bullfight, which was really interesting. It wasn't like a big bullfight. They brought out little bulls, and a bunch of guys just got up there and ran away from them. And my back was out the whole time I was in Colombia. I have a bad back, and I threw it out right before I went on the trip, because we were actually finishing the second sing-along, Very Veggie Sing-Along 2 or something like that. Finishing that, and I threw my back out sitting in my mom's dining room chairs editing for the last part of that show. And so my back was out, so running away from bulls with a bad back is really hard to do.
Yeah, I can imagine, but I think there's a silly song just in that.
Yeah, I think there is.
Right there. This was very hard to sing.
Yep.
I had to do Jimmy. It was just Jimmy? Is that all? Yeah, just Jimmy. But it was really hard to record. Yep. I was angry with you for this, making me go in there and try to sing that.
Especially when I went in and did it in one take, because I had already practiced it a few times.
He was singing it all the way back from Colombia.
I love these drawings. Dan Lopez did these drawings of the Cebu.
Yep.
Very, very nice.
Nice lens flare, too.
Yep. John Gatsby lighting.
Oh, way to go, John.
And Dan O'Brien worked on this, too, among others.
Now, we did get a couple letters on when Larry's showing his slides. There's a slide coming up where we don't see what it is.
We don't see what it is.
But Larry just says, "Ooh, forgot about that one."
The slide is in the eye of the non-beholder. I always imagine it was Larry in his towel from the Hairbrush song. Oh wait, here it comes. It's coming up pretty soon. I like the way the slide is actually on Archie's face right here.
Yeah, very, very advanced. Never would have done that back in the first few films.
Okay, here comes the ooh. Larry in a towel. That's what it is.
A few people wanted to know what exactly we were implying there. And so I sent those letters to Mike, because I honestly didn't know what he was implying there. Now, Aunt Ruth, okay, the Aunt Ruth slide. Anything you want to say about that?
Sure. Around that time, I remember there was actually a website devoted to the existence or non-existence of Aunt Ruth, because we had mentioned her a few times, but we have never shown her. So in that slide, if you'll stop on that frame, you'll notice there's a sequence of numbers running up the side, and if you translate it in the A equals 1, B equals 2,
it says something.
Code, it says something.
But we won't say what.
Oh, okay, yeah, you have to figure it out.
You have to figure it out. It says something about Aunt Ruth.
Yeah.
And there's a very long story I could tell you about Aunt Ruth, but I don't think we'll tell it.
Well, back to the show.
Back to the show. Now, originally in the design of the wall, it was going to be an extendable wall, and it actually started out lower. And then rose up and folded up like a big, transformer robot thing.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, that was in Joe's original design. Joe Sapulich designed about 100 different walls.
Was this the first time we used the French peas?
No, they were Philistines in David
yeah. You're right.
This is where the French peas really became cultural icons. It's when the post office called us and wanted to put them on a stamp.
They decided to do Elvis instead, though. But this was very Monty Python right here. This was very Holy Grail, this whole scene.
Obviously Holy Grailish. If you look at all of our films, you'll notice a preponderance of influences from Monty Python, the Coen brothers, Terry Gilliam, and Tim Burton. And
with some Muppets thrown in.
With a little bit of Muppets and, a little Jim Henson sprinkled on top. We're not as dark, you'll notice, as most of those.
Like, say, Tim Burton.
Yes. Say a Tim Burton, or say, a Coen Brothers film like Fargo.
Oh, yeah.
We're not as dark.
There's no wood chippers in this story.
No, we're Tim Burton's good twins. Ooh, that's an odd eye shape. Oh! The slushies were tons of fun, but the guys were scared about doing them because they were kind of liquidish,
liquidy,
of course. And computer animation and liquid do not go hand in hand. And
At
this
least
was
not
in
then.
1997.
Oh, we get to see the sheep again. Here
Yay,
come the sheep.
Here come the sheep. I don't think they're touching the ground in this shot either. I think they're floating. Yeah, look at that one. Whee! Look at me, I can fly! Big idea, home of the flying sheep. There's another flying one. Flying and twitching sheep. Nice little fire here.
Yeah, that's a nice fire.
If you compare it to the flames in God Wants Me to Forgive Them in Larry's Lagoon.
Yep.
Our fire technology developed quite a bit between 94 and 97. Actually, we just had time to try to do it better.
Yep.
Wasn't really a technological development thing. Thought it was fun to have Pa reminisce about Egypt like the Israelites did. They actually find it at a desirable place to be in slavery.
Right.
Because they were so frustrated being in the desert. So in retrospect, Pa decided that it was great to get that much exercise. We were just talking about Tom. That's Tom Grape, Pa's son. Hasn't shown up in a film since this one in '97. So that's like 5 years without a film role.
Without a Tom. Rosie too. Remember Rosie Grape?
Rosie, yeah.
From Grapes of Wrath?
Yeah.
She hasn't been around for a while.
But the person who did her voice moved away.
That's right.
Was a friend of ours.
Yeah.
So we'd have
Bridget.
to recast her. And I do Tom's voice, so I'm still here.
Maybe one of these days.
A strange man with a sword.
Whoa!
Josh wondered whether this guy was on his side or on Jericho's side.
Are you for us or for our enemies?
Neither.
Oh, I really like this part. And there's, you notice a nice glow on him. They did a nice job with him.
Well,
But I thought it was really fun to have Archibald just stand there and deliver. And this is all exactly the way it's written. I think in the New International version. Oh, and then it says,
That was nice dust.
Yeah, that was nice. I love this scene. Because it says in the Bible that Josh fell face down in reverence. And so I thought, okay, let's have him fall on his face and then deliver his line.
I said, what message does my Lord have for his servant?
Oh, really?
That's what you said?
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah. Very, whenever I'm doing Archibald, I'm thinking of John Cleese trying to do some of his... If you've ever seen the movie Time Bandits, John Cleese, it was Terry Gilliam's, one of his first films. Very good film. But John Cleese does a cameo as Robin Hood, and he's absolutely hilarious as Robin Hood in this film. And I think that role, this kind of not quite there, but trying to be very proper and straight, upper-class Brit, is what drives Archibald's character. And that's, I think, is that Kurt? Who all is singing there?
Oh, the battle hymn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did us three sing that, or was that just Kurt
I
all
don't
by
know if
himself?
it's just Kurt singing on 5 tracks or if we helped out, but it's definitely Kurt singing. And ironically, that's the second time we've sung the Battle Hymn of the Republic in the VeggieTales world, when we did our very first screen test of Bob and Larry.
Oh, take 38.
Yes, it's VeggieTales screen test, take 38. Bob comes out and delivers a Martin Luther King Jr. inspired speech about why the world needs a new kids show called VeggieTales. And in the background, Larry is hopping around looking for his blue plastic wind-up lobster. And then while he's giving his speech, we decided we needed some music, so Mike and I just hummed the Battle Hymn of the Republic and stuck that in the background. And we still didn't get the money to make the show. Jello. See, anytime you say Jello, people laugh.
Yep.
It's
like chicken.
It's like and monkey.
And monkey, yep.
Yep. Chicken,
Yep.
monkey, and Jello. You just can't help but laugh.
See, look, I'm laughing now.
This was kind of wacky. This is what we call extra biblical, meaning the Bible doesn't say that they built a rocket, but it doesn't say they didn't. And it's filling in those little gaps, you see. Because some people, when they tell Bible stories, they do things that the Bible says didn't happen. But we never do that. We never do things that the Bible says didn't happen, but sometimes we do things that the Bible didn't say happened.
Wow. You
You
put
may-
that in a theology curriculum.
You may want to turn on the closed captioning to figure out what I think I might have said. So they got the rocket. It's a good thing they never lit that thing because it would have killed them all. It was not safety tested.
Oh, I remember when I was in the booth recording this, you told me to imagine I was a Sunday school teacher.
Yeah. And when I gave Kurt the instructions to do this music, I said, okay, it's a Sunday school teacher on a very bad upright piano.
That's right, with one of the keys dead.
Yes, with one of the keys dead. But the lighting is much better than early shows. And the costumes they don't move a whole lot, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yep.
Still a lot easier to animate the characters without eyes.
That's right.
Got to bring Tom back. Now we had a little bit of problem here with the French peas, in that the bad guys were the French peas, and there were pea Israelites, but they didn't have French accents. And at that time, we had one staff member who was French Canadian who thought that was bad, to have the French accented peas be bad and the non-French accented peas be good.
Right.
Now, ironically, while our French Canadian friend was offended by that, we showed it to some actual Frenchmen
Right.
and women
Sure.
from France,
Right.
and they thought it was hilarious. So, you know.
And it wasn't really saying anything
We
against
were
the
not-
French, much as it was just an homage to
It
Monty
was-
Python.
Yeah, it was a very clear Monty Python reference, not really a demographical statement whatsoever.
That's right.
I mean, and that tends to be the case with us. You know, when we do an ethnic character, we're largely spoofing the ethnic characters that other people have done, and then we get in trouble for it. But I mean, just white Midwesterners standing around talking is so boring.
Like us.
Yeah, like what you guys are having to put up with right now is exactly why.
You'd all be much better off if you just shut us off and watched the movie.
Or we could, assume accents, and it would become much more interesting.
I see. Why don't we do that? No?
It's funnier already. I do like this song, though.
Yeah, this is a nice song.
And when they all come out, it's a hoot.
This is the last show I did sound effects on.
Really?
Yep.
You did
yep.
it. Those were nice. I hear birds chirping.
Oh, yeah, it
Those
had
were
some
nice.
birds in there. Yep.
Was that your idea?
Yeah, I think so. Well, if you're outside, you got to hear birds, even when you're in the desert. That's a rule of sound effects. At
Right.
least that was my rule of sound
That
effects.
was a good rule. I like that rule. It's a good rule, but this is bigger than rules. Plain to see. Big finish. Now, this is a big finish. Look at all those peas.
But we recorded all these voices. Remember, this is just
Yes,
you and I
this
singing.
is Mike and Phil on about 10 different tracks trying to change their voice to do different French peas, but all with French accents. And the animators actually did a great job with that many
Yep.
characters, giving them all slightly unique motion and slightly unique personalities. This is fun. Nice splashes, some very
Yep.
good splashes. And you'll notice that what's playing in the score right now is Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho inverted. So instead of going, Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho, Kurt went, da 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 da. So it's flipped upside down, basically. And that comes back several times in the score. It's when he and I were starting to have all sorts of fun with scoring, figuring out, okay, what should we play and why? Let's have a reason for it. It was a heretofore unheard of concept for us.
I've got slushy in my ear.
Which is pretty ironic since he doesn't have ears.
Yeah, like a porpoise.
Yeah, a porpoise.
I think you did that on purpose. You can turn us off now.
Oh, hey, where'd Junior go? Wait. Now, this is possibly the longest bit of dialogue we've ever attempted in a
And why
VeggieTales
didn't we
film.
put score under this? 'Cause I remember
because
wondering
he's about
why
to
there was
start
no-
singing.
Oh, you could have had
Could've
the
go into
score
a
that
song.
melted right
Yeah,
into
I
a
know,
song.
I know, we could have.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're sorry. Here, I'll hum something.
Da 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 da. Can always use the battle hymn.
See, 'cause now the Sunday school teacher comes in on her piano here.
It makes sense when God
But you have to pay attention, so, you know,
Yeah.
no score helps you pay attention,
the water dried
kind of.
up, and it didn't make
Not
sense
really.
when God
This is an awful lot of words, though.
in the desert. But what happened? God gave you manna to eat. Don't you see? Sometimes God asks us to do things that
It went on and on and on. They had to keep the fire going the whole time there in the
Yep.
background.
And the lighting on the characters'
The
faces.
lighting to match the
Yep.
fire. Woo!
I remember Chris
always wants to
worked a long time on the sky. I don't know what that was about, but I remember him coming back and forth to lighting all the time about the stars in the sky.
Ah.
It took us a while to get the stars down.
Well, I think they're just right.
They are just right.
So I think it was worth the effort.
Yeah.
Look at those happy peas. I think he'd notice he had slushy on his nose. Now, see, that's so sweet. The orchestra comes in under the piano lady.
Yep, that's very nice.
Bob's so happy he could bust. Crickets. That tells me
they're
it's night.
outside at night. That's when you hear crickets. For all of you budding sound effects people out there.
I hear crickets. It must be nighttime. And then the snare drum comes up and we know we're headed for battle. We're conditioned, you know, like Pavlov's dog.
When you hear the snare drum?
crickets, you know it's night. When you hear the snare drum, you know you're headed into the climax.
That's right.
And then the more movies we watch, the more conditioned we get.
So what do you do when crickets are heading into the climax?
Look at that slushy stain on his head. That's pretty cool. What?
When crickets are heading into the climax, what
Yeah.
do you hear at night?
They play tiny snare drums? What if there were a battle with crickets and no one came? And that's the end of Act 2. And this is Act 3. Look, there's the Ark of the Covenant. That was a design by Joe Sapulich, which if you see it, it's actually pretty cool. I think it's nicer than Indiana Jones's. And they turn on the slushy hoses. This is fun. Also very nicely modeled. We actually had a modeling department by the time we made this film, so
Yep.
things were looking better. And here comes the dump truck.
That's a nice dump truck.
Yeah, I can't believe that as Joe Sapulich's design, the modeling department built. And the umbrellas, love the pattern on those umbrellas. We actually built a dump truck just for a throwaway shot, just as a one-time gag. Woo.
That was me.
That was my... I love that. That's my favorite part. And it was just obvious when I was writing this that, oh, okay, well, we got to do The Saints Go Marching In. I mean, what else would they do when they were going around? And then Joe Sapulich sketched them up and gave them little goatees and sunglasses. Oh, wait for pause. This is pause Oscar moment.
Remember the little gag shot I did for that?
Yeah, Mike did a funny joke where he actually put some stuff in that shot flying out of Pa's mouth when he hacked. He thought that was really funny. Now they think they're getting away scot-free. And then the one little brick has its own will. It's a spring-loaded brick. And this, man, I wanted to do a lot more with the collapse, but we kind of ran out of money.
But that gong falling down
Yeah,
is
the
really
gong
cool.
shot was entirely animated by Dan Lopez.
Yeah,
And it's
that was
just
really nice.
Gorgeous.
And I love this dust coming up too. That was a great effect.
And then we didn't really have any more time to show anything else falling off.
Right.
I had all sorts of shots in mind, but we ran out of time. But that's
I like that little
pretty cool.
bathtub
The
hanging up
bathtub
there. That's
hanging in
nice.
the air. And a pea fell off the top. They're all dusty. So now we had to repaint them all to dust them. Boy, a lot more work than we used to put in on a show.
So the Israelites obeyed God, and the walls fell down.
Wow, and the score swells. We actually could afford to have a score swell for this one. no one's ever ended a biblical epic on a joke about contacts. I don't think before or since.
Or since, yeah. It may never happen again. This may be the only time ever.
You know, when we say groundbreaking, that's what we mean. And back to the map, and we're out. Oh boy, that's fun.
Then we come back to Bob and Junior. Where's Larry?
Where's Larry?
I think he's still sleeping.
Now, this was important because I didn't want kids to walk into Sunday school the next Sunday and say, hey, I found out that they really built a rocket when they tried to knock down the walls of Jericho, and I didn't want that to happen, so we had Junior give that little disclaimer. Yep, that's us trying to help kids separate the fiction from the nonfiction in what they've just watched.
Wow, he's even got his own book?
That's right. We're over here by QWERTY.
And back to QWERTY to wrap it up. The song that Bob hates. Why does he hate it? Because he can't control it. That's the issue. He has nothing against the message or the melody. He cannot control it, and he doesn't like what he cannot control.
I thought it just because it interrupted him, or is that part of not
Well,
controlling
yeah, that's
it?
part of
Oh,
not
okay,
being able
yeah.
to control it.
There you go.
Israelites learned that since God loved them and was
Time for the lesson.
them, that his
Wrap it up and send him home.
best way.
That's right. And because
It's a very nice slushy splat,
he went on to
Mhm.
by the way.
Mm-hmm.
just like
Our
Nice bend in the cup too. That's
yeah,
nice.
our splat technology was coming along.
Oh, we still have the boomerangs on.
Still have the
QWERTY.
booms on the screen, although you can read the verse better now because we've turned them down a bit
That's right.
since the older shows.
Way is perfect. I guess it makes sense to obey him.
I think you're
That's
right.
still
Junior.
I think that's an IBM 386. I think that's what QWERTY
Yeah,
is.
I actually built that computer for a commercial job I did
Did you?
before starting Big Idea,
Oh wow.
and just dragged it along. So it was paid for by some pharmaceutical company. I think. Someday they'll ask for it back. Oh, look, we're out of time for today.
God made you special.
Oh, but I think somebody else is on his way. Who could it
What? What are you
be?
talking about?
Who could it be?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There he is.
Oh, look at
In
that.
his little pajamas. Those are the pajamas he wore in the silly song, the Christmas silly song, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Santa,
very
I can't
nice.
wait for you to come.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
look,
there you
I
are.
wrote it. Hey, oh,
You and Chris.
Chris and I direct. Oh, Chris produced it. Oh, look. Oh, yep. We had
Art
art
direction.
director
That's right.
and a story artist. Look,
Yep.
we had one of them. Oh no, we had more. They did a little. And Dan built almost everything with those
guys. Yep.
We did a great job. And that's like was the whole company 2 years earlier.
Yep.
So wow, there are a lot more names than there were on the early ones. So we were up to about 30
Oh.
at this point. For comparison, we're now at about 210, I think. So we have more now. I remember him.
Hey, look.
That's my mom, Scotty May. She's a doctor, though. So
Oh, Battle Hymn
she's
Singers. It
smart.
was you and Tim and Kurt. I just noticed.
Me and Tim?
Yep.
Tim who? Johnson?
Tim Johnson. I think that's what it said.
Wow, back it up. That's my friend Tim Johnson. He sings too. Song of the Cebu. Mike did that. Kurt helped with the music because he always helps with the music. Luis drew it. Dan did the cool pictures. John lit it. It was really a team effort, wouldn't
It
you
was.
say?
Oh yeah.
It was-
team
yeah.
effort. Yep.
It takes a village to raise a.
To build a village.
This is when Bill Haljan, he's called Tuna Crispo because he would cater when we had to work crazy hours. He would bring in food for everybody.
And still does to this day.
And still
Bread,
does to
bread
this
by Bill every morning.
Very day he brings bread for the whole company every morning, and it's over now. So I have
Goodbye,
to go.
everyone.
Okay, it's been fun. See you next time.